I always say to people who are looking for change that the second you put yourself first, the second you grab hold of that in which you want, your
Mhm.
life is going to change. It's going to change. It can, with the snap of a finger. So many things have changed for me, for people I
Mhm.
love, and out of the blue, out of the ordinary. But once you make the space will fill because life is always moving.
Mhm.
Once you make it, so it's like have faith that those that's what that leap of faith really means. That's what
Yeah.
faith is. Faith isn't I believe in Jesus, in my opinion.
No, I'm right
There's
there with you.
faith is action.
All right. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
This is Paige. She's my longtime friend, my most amazing friend. She's a musician, she's an actor, and she's a social activist. About to run out and do some work in a moment. So I'm so grateful that you've given us some time to chat about your experiences. And as for those of you that aren't familiar, I'm Pammy. I run the Psychedelic Sisterhood, and we started this brand new series of podcasts where we discuss healing experiences through psychedelics and anything else that comes up with it. And yeah, so Paige, how has your experiences been with psychedelics? How did you get involved with psychedelics?
You know, it really wasn't like a let's all go party and celebrate and have some psychedelic drugs. I honestly was never really totally there,
Mhm.
you know, until one day, I was hanging with a friend, and we had been like accountability buddies, like, going and doing yoga and doing health and wellness and just having these natural conversations
Mhm.
that just went everywhere, universes to planets to self to Jupiter to all kinds of things. And sure enough, this friend and I ventured into the world of DMT, and
Mhm.
he ended up making it and offered if I would be interested in participating. And at first I was like, what's going to happen? I don't know. And I went and I did, and I must say that, not just that experience of participating with the psychedelic, but the entire build up process to that moment, it had such profound takeaways. It yielded profound takeaways in my life, and how I carried and conducted myself going forward. And I think that I say that because I think it's such an important part of this of psychedelic and psilocybin or DMT. These drugs help activate things, chemicals that we already have. So what is that, and in what circumstances does that already activate within us? And I
Right.
think the coupling of those two is what really yields healing and health. And I could totally get into that if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. No, let's get into it.
I mean, okay, so obviously hallucinogens, they're great, they're fun, it's great, it's trippy, but for this moment, I felt so much fear. We were walking through the woods, and we were looking for a nice little space.
Anticipation.
Yes, like
Mhm.
what is this? What's gonna happen? I don't honestly don't know. Um, and we found a nice place in down near a beach. There's a lot of water nearby. There's a lot of foliage, a lot of earth, and we felt safe. And
Right.
it was a little oasis in New York City, and throughout the process, when I was going under and then coming to, the the most healing part of it was also the most terrifying part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was called to, and I to let go of what was actually happening because honestly I had no choice.
Yeah.
It's the drug of choice that we had used was a DMT.
Mm.
So while it was happening, I just remember looking at my friend, and the only thing I can think of is, do I trust you? And
Yeah.
you know do I trust you?
There's
Because
that
my
moment right there.
Because I felt something going. It was just going. Everything was turning black, and I just was feeling called to somewhere else. And I just could only ask myself, because this would determine if this was going to be a good time.
Mm.
And I determined, yes, that I can trust this person with my
Good.
life. And
Good.
okay, so that's step one, making sure
Yeah, the most important step.
make your environment safe.
Yes.
No,
And setting matters so much.
it's so
So much.
important, because that was the only thing I could think. And
Mhm.
now that we passed that, the things that I saw and what was in my vision, I don't think I could recount. But I
Mhm.
do remember coming back with a sense of whoa,
Mhm.
um, of of peace, truly,
Mhm.
of true peace. I really I don't know how to describe just separating from your body, so to speak, and that's ultimately what it felt like. Everything that I knew about everything that I knew was gone.
Mhm.
And for a moment, I just sat in this place of eternal nothingness, but everythingness. And this is what it, imagine, just imagine a world. Imagine living without having to pay rent.
Mhm.
And then imagine living without having to pay back my student loan debt. And imagine not having to go back to
Such
work right
an
now.
amazing world right now.
Amazing. But one
Mhm.
would say that's death.
Mhm.
And what and what a parallel type of understanding of this release.
Mhm.
What is it that I am really holding on to in this waking life? Is the question that I walked away with.
Mhm.
And that question didn't answer itself for another few days. And when I'm sitting at my desk and my heart's racing, and then I think to myself in words, I need to quit.
Mhm.
I knew what it was. I need to leave. I need, like, you have a boyfriend, you just gotta break up, or girlfriend, or whatever partner, you just gotta go. You gotta
Yes.
go.
Yes.
It was that. And I'm sitting in my office looking around going, but everything's great here.
Yeah, everything seems to be going well.
Everything is well. My team is
However, I
fun.
am dying inside.
And what is that?
Mhm.
And I was already living in the what'll be, it's fine. But I was living a very active life, a very attentive life, but not an intentional life. And
Mm,
therein lies the difference.
good word.
Intention transforms, and awareness, when awareness just does something else. Awareness, I forget how this,
I don't know the phrase, but basically it highlights, but it doesn't cause action.
but it doesn't create action. And that intentionality transformed my life when I quit. And I said, I'm going to pursue musicianship, because how did I find musicianship? But over the last few months, after daily yoga. And I say that because I hated it. Every fucking day, going to the park and doing yoga and being mindful with my friend for 2 or 3 months.
Wow. Oh,
And
2 3 months.
2 or 3, so from June to July. And I ended up giving us my 6 months notice in September,
Mhm.
literally September 1st.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
over.
How did you feel?
And liberated. I felt the last 6 weeks, I gave 6 weeks notice, not 6 months, I think I
Mm,
said. But
mm,
over that time, it was like, okay, I have time to prep and time to leave. And I was starting to work as a singer, as a vocalist, and never done that before, but I've always trained. I'd
mhm,
always taken courses and continued to be a training actress, but never pursuing it,
mm,
really.
okay.
And so that was the choice. And my first gig out of the gate was the
Mhm,
most money, even to this day, I ever made as a singing artist. It was just this beautiful sign of like wonder and glory for me to do this, and I did it. I never got back to making it to a gig
mhm.
like that. It was so sick. It was this
Interesting.
penthouse gig, Sir Clark Club,
Mhm,
jazz. I got this band, and they were my friends at the time, and oh
mhm.
God, I got just such a good sign. It was the first thing after my
That's
last week.
that's incredible. Where was this gig?
It was a private holiday party at
Ah,
this penthouse on Fifth Avenue, and this company build buildings, and they were just like, it was in the cigar club. It was so fucking cool.
interesting. No,
Yeah.
that's dope. Like if you needed any kind of like reassurance if you were going in the right direction, like that was it.
And
That
that
was
was it.
definitely it. Mm.
I never, still making my way back to that, but it was the most profound summer of my life, followed by this one thing that kind just catalyzed
Mm.
it all for me.
hmm started this road of
Of self.
of self, yeah, looking inward, recognizing self, and then sort of just, not attacking, but like, going into action to achieve what you knew deep down you wanted to have with life. Not this corporate job, not, obviously we have to pay our bills and rent, but not that wasn't
Yeah.
defining you, how people
Yeah.
in New York will, go to like a party or something, like, oh, what do you do? That's the first question. It's like that's not what we're defined by. You know what I mean? We're
I
defined by
do.
self.
And
And
that was the question that started all of this. What do you do?
who are you? Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I
As
don't know.
question I'm still asking. But I've started the conversation, I guess, with myself.
Yes,
Mhm.
because little did I know that that was just step one.
Mhm.
That was just step one. That person still, she's a completely different person. I love her. She was wonderful
Mhm.
than who I am today. And even up until this last month, where now I've been more active in participating in a ceremony practice
Mhm.
that does involve, some psychedelic use, but also music
Mhm.
and internal investigation.
Mhm.
I don't feel called to need to do DMT anymore.
That
Maybe.
that's really important too. That's really important too, because I think in this line of wanting to find self or change your perspective on things or to sort of heal, sometimes people get caught in this kind of a hamster wheel of like chasing those things that they're wanting to improve. I know I was definitely stuck in that for a little bit, chasing these things thought I needed to improve, and like finding these things like, oh, I should improve that, and next week, oh, I should improve that, oh, I should grab that, and at some point I had to realize I'm just chasing and chasing and chasing. I'm not actually putting these things into action, or nothing the fuck is wrong with me. Nothing's wrong. I am who I am, and this is who I am. And if I feel like I want to improve something, I can, but I don't need to keep doing this over and over and over again to keep bringing that to my awareness. It's there. I am aware.
Mhm.
And also just becoming just happier in my own skin, just happier, just knowing that who I am or how I am is how it's going to be, you know?
I do. And that's you touched on something really important, which is like, what is my skin?
Mm-hmm.
What is my inner skin? Like, I can look in the mirror and see my face and see myself, but when it's time for the inner reflection, I find that so many people, myself included, even till now, even as I look at it, we create these images, right? And it's still a long-standing question of all time of what
Mm-hmm.
is self. It's
But it
not
keeps
necessary.
changing.
It keeps
It's
changing.
never just this one thing that you figure out. It's just what you are in the moment is how it is. And then what
And it
you are.
depends on, I was gonna
Sorry.
say, it depends on which philosopher is in charge or,
Yeah.
in the lead,
Yes.
right? Freudian had ideas, Aristotle had ideas, Socrates, everyone has ideas, theories
Exactly.
of stuff.
Exactly.
But
um,
what I see, and it's when I try to think about myself
mhm,
is, what makes self. And I firmly believe that that's the role of just companionship and humanity, is
mhm,
not to to create you, not necessarily, but when we see others, we're really seeing us. You're really just seeing you.
mhm,
And it's tricky because when it exists in someone else, these traits of self that we share, sometimes we don't look at it that way. We look at it as, oh, you got a thing that I need or that I want.
yeah. Yeah.
How do I be more you, as opposed to how do I be more me, embodying you?
Mhm,
The quality of confidence is not inherent to a person.
mhm.
And that's how do I be more confident? Oh, I just be more Paige.
Just
Well, I have
you just
crippling
gotta
anxiety.
double down on that because that is you.
But then it turned into weird things of like, well, I can't get what Paige has, so then now Paige won't give me what she's got, so screw Paige. And it's like, no, 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 you can't have what I have because that's mine. That's mine. But how do we find you then? And I think that's what keeps that hamster wheel. People are on this constant chase of self and constantly running around it saying, well, where is it? Where
Yeah.
is self?
In
It's right
comparison.
here.
Hmm.
It's right here.
Yeah. That's incredible.
That's
That's
the
so
hamster
true.
wheel.
It's the hamster wheel, and it's so true. It's so true. I do
Oh,
want to
excuse me.
kind of, no, yeah, you're good. I do want to start, you know what program this is, right? I do want to circle back just a little bit and kind of ask you if you can try to put to words some of the things that you experienced while in DMT, if you can.
I can. Cool. I wasn't sure how we were gonna go. So um well, I did it 2 times. The
Mhm,
first time being both times being completely different. So the first time that first journey, I remember feeling a sensation of welcome, come, and even seeing it. What it was looking like was this come, and I remember coming and beckoning it. That's when I double checked, am I going to be alive, because I'm leaving now. I'm leaving now. Body is staying here. You're still there with it. Are we cool? Okay, we're cool. I'm
We're
going.
good? We're good? All right.
All right. And I left. And I left, and that's all I could remember, was being cradled, being almost like held, like my body was being held,
Mm,
and just everything left. Everything was gone. All of it. All of it. Are you happy now? And then being lowered back. Very quick. The DMT is not a very long experience.
yeah.
It was a short, and also I was timid, so it was about a 5 to 10 minute thing. In the meanwhile, apparently my body was doing movements that I don't recall, that
Hmm.
my friend mentioned, and that same thing I've experienced while conscious, while my body starts to move on its own, and I don't know what it is, but it always looks like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know why, but it moves on its own, and I know this didn't happen then, but when I wasn't there, it did. So when
Interesting.
I came back, it was disorienting, but I remember the thought was,
Mhm.
that's what it feels like to die.
Mm,
I
mhm,
felt like that I had died,
mhm,
and looked at myself coming back throughout.
mhm,
That's just what the image was. That's what it looked like. Not saying I did, but I walked away with the sense of knowing what not having anything in the world looks like, and being so almost yearning for it,
mhm,
almost yearning for that level of peace. And so the second time we had done it, and that was in the same spot, I was much more conscious. I remember the same sensation of just so much happening, separating, but then I remember not wanting to go away. I wanted to be able to sit with it, and my mind was all over the place, but I could remember the feelings of my fingertips, and I put my fingertips on the ground, and then I realized two things were happening. There was a separation of what was happening here and what was happening in my physical body. I
mhm,
made peace with it. I didn't do anything. I made peace with it. Okay, and then I stayed sitting up. Last time I wanted to lay down.
mhm,
This time I sat up, and I stayed there. So now while I'm sitting in this, I was like, okay, let me open my eyes to let's match these two worlds. And then I opened my eyes, and there's my friend. Hello,
mhm,
friend. And so much is happening. The world was literally quite on fire. And I
mhm,
just took a look around, and I started to laugh.
mhm,
And then when I laughed, the sound of my laughter back to me made me
mhm,
laugh harder, because I realized that's the whole point of it.
mhm,
That's the whole point of speaking, actually, to make manifest what's beautiful within,
mhm,
to make it manifest. So when we speak, and when we create, and when we do this every day, we are masters of creation through
mhm,
sound, through imprint, through impact. We are creating at all times. And I say this as a creator, as an artist.
mhm.
You know, so just through the act of laughing and speaking was I able to recognize my pure power and potentiality. And that then made me feel even more just at home with myself.
Mhm.
It was so profound to know that as a vocalist too, there is so much inherent power in how intention
It,
transcends.
there really is. And I love that you're bringing that up because, there are so many moments where, in other people's experiences where they come into the DMT experience just like saying just vowels or words and like la la li lo la, like just anything. And it's like they don't know why they're saying it or why they're just speaking in these random like consonants, but it feels amazing. And some from some experiences that I've been told, you can see with these vowels manifesting shapes or prisms or however while in the trip, and that's showing you how you're manifesting what you're saying. And I'm just like, that's the best probably teacher for how your words matter so much, especially with like if you're giving someone praise or if you're, talking shit, like these things matter so much. If you're a constant shit talker, your entire world is constantly going to be manifesting shit. But if you're gonna, manifest beauty and manifest love and understanding and compassion, think about how that's gonna manifest in your world. You know what I mean? And that's such a great thing. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Thank
Honestly,
you. Thank you
honestly.
for, because I don't know much people's experiences in DMT either. I don't talk to many because I feel like that's a mind thing.
Hmm.
Unless I hear people talking about it, then I'll share what I've gained.
Yeah. Well, I went on a YouTube rabbit hole, so
I would be interested in maybe trying again, and perhaps this is something I'm reckoning with, that I don't need to feel great pain to heal.
exactly. Yes, and that's a great insight. 100%.
And that's been this 2021 years of healing. What that means, it's a constant thing, because there's so much of how your reality can change based on anything.
Hmm.
You can be step right here, but we don't move that way. And you
Hmm.
talk to your mother, you talk to your good friend, and then you fight with so and so, and then you make human in sillies, and whatever it is.
Mhm.
Sometimes it results in a harm of another, and sometimes it doesn't. And where those things balance and how they balance to the self can be overwhelming, especially if we're moving so fast, which we are in this society. We are trained to move so fast and equate that movement to our worth.
Mhm.
By not moving,
Unfortunately.
you
Mhm.
are not worthy.
Mhm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you don't have to think about that. Y'all think about that. By not, and that's a large part of what I try to bring with this social activism, because it is a whole moving construct. And oh man, I got swept away in it.
Mhm.
But when you're trying to resist, what is it that we're resisting? And the structure that we have in this world, in this human plane, has set something really specific, and it is up to us as the individual to recognize that these pressures that come in the form of your parents, that come in the form of your job, that come in the form of political correctness, and the way we conduct culture as primarily in the West
Mhm.
culture,
Mhm.
and that's just the United States,
Yeah.
and up into Canada and Mexico. But we know that it's really coming from us, because this, if we really want to get into the land and the structure that we've been built on has created that. Capitalism is modern colonialism. Movement is great for who? Which movement is great for which move? For whom?
Mhm.
And we have this collective. Just I don't know where I cut off at.
You cut off after the capitalism.
Capitalism being modern colonialism. And so when we really have to step back and understand how much of our self is self,
Mhm.
and take full responsibility for every part of what your self is.
Mhm.
That's just step one. Accept that you have a direct role in how your life plays out. Everybody does. Everyone equally. This life works for you, not to you. For you.
100%.
So
Yeah, and then the more you're aware of that, a lot of that victim mentality drops away, and are held accountable, holding yourself accountable to everything that you're doing, everything that you're putting forward. And I was talking about this in a previous podcast. Like sometimes there are issues we go through, and we're ready to be like, oh shit, this is happening, that's happening, blah blah blah. I can't believe this is happening to me. It's like, oh, and also you also have a part in that. It's not your fault per se, but you also have a part in how this thing is solved, or if you're just going to keep letting it go on and on because you're complaining about it and not trying to solve it. Some people get stuck in that state, that constant state of like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, you know? And so I think that's really important to bring up.
And I
For
get
sure.
it. I get that, because some people can't help that this is happening. Some people have to continue that momentum, right? Because it's like life. When do we stop? And that's the challenge. And that's the unique challenge of every person.
Well,
And
life never stops. That's
life
the
never
thing.
stops.
Never stops.
Life never stops.
Even
And
the pursuit of happiness never stops.
there is none.
Everything just keeps changing, keeps going. That's just how it is.
So
Even
how
when
do we
you
operate?
Yeah.
You know, when some people need a reset, find your reset. Find it. But it ain't easy. And that's all there is. And you know, when this is where we get into talks of faith and of spirit, right? Because when I say the universe works for you, I always say to people who are looking for change that the second you put yourself first, the second you grab hold of that in which you want, your life is going to change. It's going to change. It can, with the snap of a finger, so many things have changed for me, for people I love, and out of the blue, out of the ordinary. But once you make the space will fill, because life is always moving. Once you make it. So it's like, have faith that's what that leap of faith really means. That's what faith is. Faith isn't, I believe in Jesus, in my opinion.
No, I'm right there with you.
Faith is action.
Yeah, and holding on to that that idea of what you want to achieve versus, oh, I think I'm going to do this, and then not think about it ever again. It's like, or downplaying it after you have that idea. Well, it didn't happen yet, so this is not going to happen. That's not faith at all. Not it at all. If you have the idea, just keep it. Just keep it. Hold on to it. It's happening. Hold on to it. But
I wonder.
it's not easy.
My wonder was how much psychedelics could help in the catalyzation of action. Because what is action but stepping into your power, right? Knowing and doing. A lot of inaction is because of fear, right? From what I've seen.
Sure, yes, absolutely. The number one.
and I don't, and the opposite, I don't say the opposite of fear is love, but for this conversation, we can say love practice could be the opposite of fear practice.
For sure.
Because love is huge. Love is my God.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to love and compassion, especially unconditional love and self-love, it comes down to allowance. And that's an important thing that I've learned over the years is my love comes with allowance and just allowing people to be who they are and allowing situations to go wrong, allowing things to go right. Just allowance, whatever will happen or may happen will happen. I forget how that quote goes. But
will be. Que será, será.
Que será, será. And I think that's where it starts. It's releasing the need for things to go a very specific way, And
that's why I call love my God. Because if I am love, that means I am God, then I have a lot of responsibility as God, don't I? And personally, I am arriving to this conclusion of a very, very traversed life of people and places and tastes, and it's the only thing that makes sense to me anymore. It's what the Bible teaches in parable form, because that's exactly what Jesus did. He spoke in analogies, and I can imagine when there's a bunch of people that are persecuting you for thinking differently, because Jesus existed, right? The modem of responsibility always comes back to the self, because at the end, who do you answer to when you turn off the lights?
Sure.
Sleep at night.
Yeah. Sure. And with that, I know you have to run, so I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Pam, for doing this. I am so
Yeah.
looking forward to the development of the sisterhood. You already know I'm a teammate. I'm here. I'm in the back. I know I'm running around doing my life stuffs, changing the world and whatnot.
An amazing work you're doing right now for Writers for Rights, and
Thank you.
yeah, it's I've been so, like I told you off camera before, but I'm so impressed. So I'll let the world know I'm so impressed.
Thank
You're
you.
doing amazing things. I
It
love
helps with the faith. Thank you. That helps me keep the faith.
it. All right. Well, I'm going to end this now, but thank you again. Where can people find you if you want people to find you?
If you want to find me, I'm at Paige Russo NYC on Instagram. Paige Russo, if you look me up. But my group that I represent is Writers for Rights. An active member, and we were based in New York City, doing the things. We have mutual aid efforts, we have community efforts, and we're growing. So our efforts are always changing because the needs of the world are constantly changing too.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you, Pam. Much love.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.